Hey folks, this is David Smith at Correctional Officer Lifestyle. I am coming to you today with a new video series that I'm introducing. It is how to be a better correctional officer. Okay. Correctional officers are some of the most destructive people on the planet. If you want it tore up, a board correctional officer will do that in short order. Okay. If you want a vehicle destroyed, put it on perimeter. Put it on the perimeter at any prison. I promise you it won't make it. It'll get destroyed. Okay. Correctional officers are often A-type personalities that, like a border collie or a Belgian Malinois dog, they require something to do. You do have some correctional officers that can get along just fine being bored out of their skulls. They won't destroy anything. They'll be perfectly okay. I know a couple of these guys and girls. I'm not one of them. When I was younger in my career, if you wanted it destroyed, leave it in my dorm. It was going to get destroyed. Either I was going to destroy it or my sergeant was going to destroy it, or between the two of us, it would get destroyed. Board correctional officers are the absolute worst. However, if you can, as a correctional officer, train yourself to think like an investigator, and the dormitory is a stakeout. I said in a video not too long ago, if you're having trouble in a dormitory, look for the leader. This applies to thinking like an investigator. Okay? If any of you have ever seen any gang movie, the gangs operate at the behest of their leader. The Capone family did nothing without Al Capone's blessing. Just to give an example, okay? They're going to go where the leader tells them to go. They're going to do what the leader tells them to do. If you think like an investigator while you're in the dormitory, you can pick apart the network of what's going on. Think like an investigator, you will start to look at the world like an investigator. If you look at the world like an investigator, you'll act on the world like an investigator. And by God, if you start acting on the world like an investigator, you'll be the most hated correctional officer at your facility, because you will be an investigator in a correctional officer's uniform. The inmates will hate you because there is nothing that they can't get away with. I would just like to give you an example of somebody that always thought like an investigator. I'm not going to give you his name, but he did work with me and has since retired. He thought like an investigator. I once watched him take a Bible from a gang member and go through the Bible page by page. Anybody ever seen a Bible? That is a rather thick book. I personally feel that it is a living word of God, which is why it is so thick. But for those of you that don't believe the same way I do, the Bible itself is a very thick book. Lots of pages. By the time this individual got done going through that book, thinking like an investigator, checking all the pages, writing down what he found in the margins of the pages that the inmate had written in the margins of his pages, he had the entire manifesto for the Latin Kings. He had their bylaws, their creed, their mottos, everything. Every single thing about the Latin Kings was in that Bible. It took that man 4 hours to pull all that information out of that Bible. That's thinking like an investigator, okay? There's 2 screenshots that were sent to us from the crime lab where we send our cell phones that we discover. One text, don't move anything, A shift is on today. A shift is the shift that man worked on. Okay? Don't move anything A shifts on today. That's a very powerful statement from an inmate. That means that one individual on that one shift shut down their entire pipeline. Shut it down completely. Okay? Think like an investigator, folks. Think like an investigator. There was also, he kept a wall of fame in his office. And on the wall of fame was a witness statement that an inmate had written post use of force. And the witness statement read, "I fought the law and the law won." That's the kind of stuff that thinking like an investigator will put you out, will put you into. That's the league that thinking like an investigator will put you in, okay? Think like an investigator. You will become the most hated inmate or the most hated correctional officer by the inmate population at your facility. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because that means you're doing your job. Folks, that's all I got for this one, okay? That's it. There is no place for domestic violence in this world. If you are the victim or you know the victim of a domestic violence situation, 1-800-799-SAFE. That is a domestic violence hotline. There are people at the other end of that phone call who have the tools, abilities, and resources to help the victims of domestic violence. That's 1-800-799-7233. If you know the aggressor in a domestic violence situation, remember to say something to somebody, because the worst thing that you can do is nothing. And if you are the aggressor in a domestic violence situation, then there's hope for you too. First, admit that you need it. Second, ask for it. Folks, that's all I got for this video. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button. You want to see more, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications when I post new videos, and leave me some comments. Let me know what thinking like an investigator has done for you. Let me know how you think thinking like an investigator would help you in your career. I promise you, I might take a while to get back to you, but I'll get back to you. All right? That's all I got for this one, folks. This is David Smith, Correctional Officer Lifestyle.